when you get into clothing and whatnot, you kind of mentioned why and when.
Hmm.
How do you start like taking your drawings and your ideas for these characters and literally getting them onto clothing and then figuring out how, because now you're doing these events and you're
Right.
in storefronts, and so
Hmm.
it's like, how do you go from just having these ideas and being like, man, this would be cool to be on clothes, to like me wearing your hat right now?
Hmm.
Like, how do we get there? How does that happen?
Well, I mean, I feel like I've always like loved fashion. Like I always loved dressing up and all that stuff like that. It's kind of just something that came with the territory of me personally.
Mm-hmm.
And then like just studying like the game, like studying the fashion game. And the one thing that's beautiful to me personally is like when you study like the fashion game, you realize that there's different cultures.
Yeah.
And then when you see that there's different cultures, like there's different people that's wearing these different materials, or like they live different lives, but in a sense it's like you trying to target them, because obviously the business side is having an audience, and it's like being able to bring them together, so I'm looking at like a hoodie or like a t-shirt, or maybe like a jacket, like little stuff like that. Those things, like, they target different people, and I felt like, let me kind of put my spin on it with the fashion, and then I was able to just have the characters and put them on the merch that I will personally wear. I never will sell something that I don't feel comfortable in.
Mm.
So that's one of the things that I try to talk to people about. It's like, I'm never going to sell something that I won't wear, because I
I
want,
think that's the best way to do it.
right, I want people to feel comfortable.
Yeah.
But the whole spin on it is just like, to me, this is not just a clothing brand. This is like a lifestyle. Like, hold yourself accountable, live your life, love your life, incorporate yourself into your life. Like, you will never know who you can be until you try.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the whole perspective of the brand. Like, just living your life, loving your life, and incorporating yourself into your life. And then the characters, like, they started to resonate with people. Like, a lot of people, they like it, it's dope, but a lot of people also purchase the merchandise because they relate to the characters, and I think that that's kind of really what I'm trying to do. I want people to relate to it so that they can bring out the betterment within themselves.
Yeah, I think it's super cool and admirable, like the kind of your mission behind the whole company and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, it is like a lifestyle. It's a lot of. You've said when we were off air that it's a lot of, you're injecting a lot of yourself into these characters,
Right.
and to what the brand is about, which I think is super cool. How do you go from, though? I'm curious, like, literally, and you don't have to get into like, oh, this is where I print my t-shirts and stuff like that, but how do you like start learning about like the manufacturing side of things? Because obviously, like, you're probably not printing every single shirt yourself now,
No.
because you've made it however far.
Right.
But like, how is that beginning stages of like trying to figure out, like, okay, I gotta figure out how much blanks are gonna cost, and
Mm-hmm.
ink and stuff, because I know we've got entrepreneurs that watch the show and are
Right.
curious about things like this. So
Well, first and foremost, like, I would tell everybody, like, get an LLC. Like, make sure you trademark your stuff, because, like, yeah, you could go out and sell shirts and all of that stuff, but it's like that's your business, like that's your baby. Like, you got to take care of your baby. Like, if you want to, leave little seeps and little holes in it, then eventually, like, it could crumble right in front of your face. So it's like, make sure you have a solid foundation, and that foundation would be like, your LLC, and then like your trademark and stuff like that. Because when you have that stuff, now you're like, okay, can't nobody take my information. Because the most important thing in the world today, to me personally, is information. You know what I'm saying? And me personally, I have no problem with giving out that kind of information.
yeah,
But I feel like not everybody thinks that way. So you protect yourself. And then the other thing that I did was I started with like vinyls.
Mhm.
Like the little cricket cutters
Cricket
and stuff
stuff,
like
yeah.
that. Yeah, that's what I started with. And I feel like most owners and most bosses is like they own companies and businesses, but they don't know how to do the groundswork,
Yeah.
And why would me personally, I don't want to run a business where I don't know how to do the groundswork. Like,
Yeah.
when
If you don't know how to do every part of a job to get it to
Right.
the end product,
mm-hmm.
it'd be kind of hard to be like telling someone like, hey, this is, if you saw something, maybe a shirt was messed up, like, how are you supposed to tell them to do it differently if you don't literally know how to do it
Absolutely.
yourself? So, I feel like that's pretty cool. So you're
Right.
literally starting out with the cricket and doing it that way. Is it, I'm sure it's gotta be rewarding to like start from that and then kind of be where you're at now.
Oh,
right?
absolutely. But see, like I was saying earlier, like, you just gotta love what you do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I used to be like super excited. Like, I used to be like, yo, this joint fire, like, it's lit, doo. But now, kind of where I'm getting to now, it's like, yo, that stuff dope, but this stuff, you know, like it always gotta, like, you have to have that. It's like that thrill, that excitement, you know what I mean, when you making your merch, like, or not even just your merch, it could be like your music or your grind or whatever it is. Like, if you can feel that excited and that much energy about it, then you're doing something right. Yeah. And if you really, really want something, you're gonna put work in for it. You're not gonna make those excuses, and you're not gonna cut those corners. So that's another step right there. It has to be like, you have to have a why, you know, like, know your why. Because if you know your why, then all of the other stuff don't matter. You're doing it for this, you know, and you start working behind that, and it doesn't feel like a job. If anything feels like a job, then you're kind of doing the wrong thing, you know, like, and that's kind of how I look at things, because it's like, life is supposed to be like abundant, you know, like, obviously you have your moments where you're down and stuff like that, but you're supposed to enjoy it, you know, because we're not
live it,
you know,
living it,
right, you know, and that's kind of how I see things, you know, from my personal perspective.
Hey, thanks for watching there, guy. Click right over here if you want to see that episode in its entirety, or you can click over here and subscribe to the channel, see all the other fun shit we do here. It's really up to you, guy.